It's a beautiful morning here in August, here in my hometown. The with the rooster in the background. I thought it would be good to review why Republican politicians do what they do, because so often I hear, I just can't understand why the governor of Florida would do this or that. Why would the governor of Texas do this or that? It hurts so many people. Well, it is not hard. If you are a Republican politician, the number of people who die of COVID does not matter. The number of hospitals that are overrun, that does not matter. All that matters is power and money. Power and money are gained by winning elections. And elections are won through getting votes. People who die of COVID might really object to the policies of a governor that caused their death. But they're dead. They don't vote. Will the number of people who die of COVID in Florida, would that be enough to swing a vote in Florida? Florida is Florida. It may well be. But even more important, the families of those who die, the brothers and sisters and parents and children, they are going through the throes of grief. Will they vote? That's very problematic. It's very difficult to do anything when you're going through the depression following terrible grief. These are all political calculations to get re-elected in order to gain power and money. All these things are dependent upon how many votes they get, and everything, nothing else matters. Whether they please people or hurt people, whether they are servants, as they're supposed to be, of the people who elected them, or of their entire communities. It is the primary and focal point of a depraved politician, that he doesn't care about anything but his own power and money. And it explains why so many Republican politicians do what they do. They know that if they go into a primary and they do not have there is no gray, it's just black or white of the Trump base, very often they won't make it through the primary. And the general election of all the people in their state does not matter if you can't make it through the primary. Now, the general, and once again, in a large part, the people who are dying of COVID are people who don't have the resources to protect themselves from COVID. They have less of an ability to take time off of work to go get the vaccine. Yes, it attacks and it affects more often people of limited means, and so it is often just as well for the re-election prospects of a depraved Republican governor that he does not, and make sure there are not COVID restraints and COVID precautions. You can easily see that in each of the pronouncements. Now, for the general election, of course, Republicans have not been idle. Voter restriction policies that primarily affect people who do not vote for them, trying to get armed Trump poll watchers into polling stations where they can harass and make it more difficult for minority voters and armed Trump poll watchers to be outside the polls, threats. Oh my goodness, if you are caught in any way breaking the law by voting, by accidentally voting when you're not supposed to or in the wrong place, then terrible, terrible things are going to happen. All these things promote fear. The two individuals in Texas who voted by accident when they weren't supposed to, the Texas Republicans will persecute those people to no end, whereas the people in Massachusetts who definitely and knowingly were involved in voter fraud, you know, they'll get some community service. So all these other things that Republicans are doing, of course, the gerrymandering, so that the effects of certain communities that would normally vote against them are diluted. Those votes are diluted, and the votes of their supporters are given more potency in an election. All these things are for the general, but first and foremost, they have to pander to the Trump vote in order to make it through the primary. Everything a Republican politician does is based on power and money through being reelected, which is founded on votes. And that is the point of their focus. I believe Biden and I believed Obama when they said that their first thought is the good of the entire country. What I've seen, what I saw Obama do, and what I have seen Biden do does give good to the entire country. He saved my Teamster pension, and Republicans have been working to destroy my union and destroy my pension for decades. And as soon as he came into office, he passed legislation to fully fund my pension. I plan on working until I can't work anymore, so I may not gain much benefit from it, but it was for the good of many, many thousands of Americans who are Teamsters. And everything that I've seen, that I've witnessed, by and great large, Republican politicians are focused on power and money. I was very pleased, very happy that Senator Portman voted for the abbreviated infrastructure bill. He's a Republican. He's from my state. He voted for that. I was pleased to see that, and I also know that he's not running for re-election. So his main motivation in general for Republican politicians was not there for him. But thank you, Senator Portman. I do appreciate that. But in general, Democratic politicians take seriously the notion that they were elected to serve all of the people in that are part of their constituency and in large part of the nation. Republican politicians are working for power for themselves and for their party, and money for themselves specifically. And of course, if they are young enough and can achieve and maintain an erection, they will also work for sex.